Hello, everybody. How are you this July 4th, Independence Day? Happy 4th of July to everybody out there. A lot of things have been creeping up over the last, I don't know, a couple weeks where I haven't really been doing any live streams. So uh, just kind of had a 3-day weekend, had a little bit extra time with the wife out of town. So I thought, perfect timing. Let me do a live stream today. So anyway, thanks guys for showing up. Thanks Chump Change for doing the thumbnail for this. Really appreciate it. Next time I'll just give you only like 30 minutes to do it instead of a little over an hour. Anyway, appreciate it. Thanks everybody for showing up. Some Goblin Loser, appreciate you showing up. I'm not even gonna try to say that name from Venezuela, but thanks for showing up from Venezuela. CC, thanks for showing up. And no, I still have the same hat. So I'm sure that makes Chum Change very happy. Um, Thanks Crypto Shaped and Crypto Bidel for showing up. And hey Tains, how's it going? So let me know. Can you guys hear me okay? Oh, hey Red Fox, how's it going? So just somebody give me a thumbs up or something. Just let me know that you guys can hear me okay. Because I do not have the stream coming back at me. I didn't want to create an echo or anything. Cool. Thanks. Appreciate it. Alrighty. So let's hop right into it. I have been hearing a number of things um, about 1559 and the difficulty bomb and when's it happening and all that kind of stuff. So decided, okay, when is the difficulty bomb actually going to hit? Are we going to have 1559 even before the difficulty bomb hits? What does this all mean? So you can see here, this is what has been proposed, one of the latest things that had been proposed by Tim Biko to actually do 1559 a week earlier than originally proposed on July 28th. So I had done some other research today, said, when is the difficulty bomb going to hit and what does it mean for us? So I did find out that the original extension with Muir something or another, that particular fork from about a year and a half ago, um, that one was at block 9200, but the extension applied to when it was at 8.8 million. So, and the extension for that was 4 million blocks. So we're looking at the difficulty bomb coming into play at about 12,800,000, 12.8 million. That block is when it will start. Now it starts out very, very slow. Right now we're at about a 13-second block time. So even just going up to like 12.9, which is where this July 28th is, we're only going up like a tenth of a second. So a very, very small amount. So if we do it in this time period, we're going to be in good shape. But it increases exponentially. So by the time we get out to about 300,000 blocks, then we're going to be out about an additional second. So we'll be at around 14 seconds, a little over 14 seconds at that point. So let's define a little bit about what the difficulty bomb is. So, everybody says, well, the difficulty is going to get bigger, but why? And what it really means is that the block times will get longer. The time between blocks will get longer. So the amount of blocks that we will mine per day will be less, meaning less Ethereum being produced for block rewards to pay us for our mining efforts. So if we're talking about in 300,000 blocks, we're going to go up from 13 to 14 seconds or just over 14 seconds. That's about a 10% increase in the block time, which corresponds to about 10% decrease in the number of block rewards made each day. So this is why it's important that us as miners, we want the London Fork to go through. We really need it to go through so that we don't lose out on block rewards. We already know the gas prices are so low that 1559 is going to make very little difference to our payouts. The block rewards I've seen are anywhere between 4 and 10. So we're probably going to be losing about 5 to 10% is my estimate. So again, very small due to the recent things that have been happening with how MEV is taking place and it's being done outside of the blockchain. So there's I won't go into all the details about that, but if you do want some of the details on that, Tim Binko answered that question on my interview with Red Panda, Son of a Tech, and Serpent X Special Forces. We had that interview a couple weeks ago, and he answered that really well. So if you are interested in that information, go back to that video. So in short, we want 1559, maybe not necessarily 1559 for the sake of 1559, but we want the London hard fork to come sooner rather than later because the difficulty bomb is going to be in place. As it shows here, when on July 28th on mainnet, the proposed block is 12,923,000. Well, that's about 100,000 past when the difficulty bomb goes into place. Again, it starts out slow and then rises exponentially, but we would be better off not having it hit at all. So right now, the two dates that are being discussed, and this is the Ethereum All Core Devs group on Discord, and I came across this today, just went, hey, what's going on? And I see the messages pop up all the time. So I saw something pop up. They were discussing, wait a minute, when are we going to do it? So you can see Vitalik up here says, does anyone oppose the August 4th date? And that was the original date proposed, but some people are now pushing for July 28th. The reason why some people are still pushing for August 4th is because of wallets and gas. Where was it? So there was a gas limit setting issue where the wallets would need to create something. It's basically some additional development on their end, and they want to make sure that they have enough time to complete it. So that's why they're pushing for the August 4th date. Others have said, we've known about this for weeks. Why do we need to give them an extra week? But that's the discussion that's going on. And one of the latest things that came out was some news that had come out when they originally talked about this on the All Core Devs call, where somebody wrote a summary, put it out to everybody, and said the tentative date for the London hard fork is August 4th. So I think it's probably still going to be August 4th, which will still be fine. It won't, the difficulty bomb won't be putting that much of an effect on the timing of the blocks at that point, but we certainly wouldn't want it to extend out much past that. So just know it'll either be July 28th or August 4th, and we'll find out more details going forward. But in my opinion, the ship has sailed. Now with where we are, we want this to occur before the difficulty bomb gets too far along. So if this were to extend out to say the middle or end of August, that will give the difficulty bomb more time to have an effect on the block times, maybe out to like 15, 17 seconds at that point, and then we'll start to feel it, and we'll see that in the profitability. So anyway, before I go any further, let me see if you guys have any questions about that. I don't see any. Do you guys have any questions about the difficulty bomb? Or did that do a pretty good job of explaining it? Yes, Chum Change made my thumbnail. He went extreme. Love it. If you could have seen the one that I did, that was so boring. So definitely appreciate the work you put in. I think you had a good time with it, though. So anyway, alrighty. Well, let's go into the next subject I had, which was 3060 Ti with LHR. Let me bring over my rig. So I've been on a queue to actually get cards since January, and got a call from the guy who was selling the cards and said, "Hey, your time is here. I've got 3 cards." And I asked him, "Are they going to be LHR?" He's like, "I don't think so." I said, "Well, what's the model number?" And he said, "Oh, they end in KL." And I'm like, "Those are LHR." So, but everything I had read said, okay, Ethereum's going to be reduced. So I knew getting these cards, I wasn't going to be mining Ethereum with them. I saw where the other cards were, or sorry, where the other algorithms were as far as profitability. So I said, no problem. I'll go ahead and buy them at retail value. So bought the cards, got them home, put them in, and not exactly happy. This is actually my Ethereum rig with AMD. But let's go to the one rig that I have, which is my 3000 series cards. And you can see that they typically on Ergo get anywhere from 165, and this is my crappy Zotac card that I despise. But hey, it makes money, so, but it's nowhere near as good as my other cards. Anyway, but 165 to 171 is the range that I should be getting and should be able to push these overclocks. So I'm not able to do that at all. I'm getting about 134, so about 20% less hash rate. Now you might say, well, your overclocks are different. Yeah, they're different because I can't push them any higher. If I push this one above 2200, this will drop to half. It'll go down to like 60 or 70. So I don't know if, because this is Ergo is a memory intensive algorithm, that it's also, sensing that, and therefore the light hash rate limiter is actually kicking in or not. I'm not really sure. But I've played around with the overclocks. Typically, I'd have the core downclocked, but when I downclock, the hash rate goes down. If I raise the only one, I can raise this one up to about 2350, but I only get it up to about 135. So it isn't really helping me much by doing that. So yeah, that is unfortunate. Now, the question is it really the light hash rate limiter that's causing it, or is it a change in specification? So I have Hynix GDDR6 on this card, when typically the 3000 series cards come with Samsung. So I don't know if it's the Hynix memory. I don't know if it is the light hash rate limiter that's causing this, but any way you look at it, Ergo is mining 20% less than what it normally would on a non-light hash rate limited card with Samsung memory. So that is unfortunate, and I have sent a tweet to Gamers Nexus as well as Hardware Unboxed. I also sent a tweet to Jacob at EVGA. I haven't gotten any responses, but hoping that I get some type of response. I'd love to see Hardware Unboxed actually get one of these cards and do a comparison to see if there's any gaming performance differences. I would love to do it if I had a little bit more time, but I don't know. I might eventually do it maybe not next weekend because it's the poker tournament, but possibly the weekend after that I might do it if nobody else has done it at that point. But at any rate, something to be cautious of if you are buying light hash rate cards, that they may not hash like you would expect and like all the stories have stated. So Red Fox Crypto, I'll go into that in a little bit, actually. That's actually part of what I wanted to talk about today. So I'm looking at some of the other questions here. So CC says, difficulty bomb equals increase in network difficulty. Yes, that is true. It increases network difficulty, but everything's tied together. So in simple words, it increases the block time, the time per block. And that's what increases the difficulty. So it's if you're thinking about it that way, it's easier to kind of say, okay, well, if we go from 13 to 14 seconds, how much fewer blocks are we mining in a day, meaning how much less Ethereum is being produced for the same amount of mining. So that's really what's being done, but the effect of doing that is increasing the difficulty. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. I don't know why. I guess it was just an easy way of them explaining it, but they're all tied together is really what it comes down to. I know when they originally had this they had a hard fork a month before they did another hard fork for Muir Glacier, and the Muir Glacier hard fork was only for delaying the difficulty bomb, because evidently math is hard. They didn't predict it correctly is really what it comes down to. Evidently, it's hard to predict. There's a lot of factors. But anyway, they all of a sudden went, oh crap. Yeah, we better do something or this is going to get really bad. Because the hard fork that came before that was in December, but they didn't discover that the difficulty bomb went into effect in October and was starting to have an effect in the Ethereum network. And so, yeah, they basically got caught with their pants down. So this time they're not. They're making sure that that doesn't happen again. So they are extremely aware as to when this is going to take hold. So let's see if there's any other questions. Oh, yeah, I got mine Tuesday, 4 hours before the delivery truck. I read the description, LHR. Lucky me, the package arrived very damaged and I shipped the card back for a full refund. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with LHR if it was only doing it to Ethereum or any Ethereum-like coin. So in other words, ETC is very similar as far as algorithm. Vertcoin is very similar as far as algorithm. But I'd never been told that Ergo was very similar. Now, shame on me. I guess maybe I should have thought of that because it uses the same overclocks. So if it uses the same overclocks, why wouldn't it be similar or look the same to the card? So anyway you look at it, it's still not doing it 50%. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not sure if it's the Hynix memory or if it's the LHR. Just have no way of knowing at this point. And trust me, I have searched Hynix 3000 series NVIDIA cards. I've done a bunch of different searches to see what I could find out. And I haven't been able to find anything. So if you guys know of anything, let me know. Let's see. Yeah, can't wait until someone cracks LHR. Yeah, absolutely. That will be nice. And hey, if somebody cracks it, then we'll be able to see whether this was really LHR in the first place or if it was the Hynix memory. So let's see here. What other questions do I have here? Yeah, if you can, when you're asking me a question, if you can ping me at Max Voltage Mining and Crypto, that makes it a lot easier for me to track the questions. So some goblin loser. LHR still reduces hash rate on all coins. I am not aware of that. My understanding is that it only does it on Ethereum or Ethereum-like algorithms, like Ethereum Classic and Vertcoin. So I'm not saying that the light hash rate limiter is causing this problem. I'm saying it might be. So I'm almost in a way hoping it's the light hash rate limiter and not the memory, that I got some bum cards, but not sure at this point. So we'll have to kind of look at that. And I'm doing some more investigation into it and I'll keep looking into it. But at this point, I just got these last week. And oh, I should also mention, well, that'll be my next subject. So let me ask some questions and then I will go into that. Looks like I answered all the questions at this point. Thomas Tran, I was gonna blow up. So one of the things I did, because I was thinking about this, I said, okay, I've got it in Hive. Maybe it's due to the drivers, because the Linux drivers always lag the Windows drivers. So I thought, sure, when I get a chance, I'll just load Windows onto I had a M.2 drive I was using Hive OS from a USB drive. And I wasn't sure if I was going to switch this rig over to Windows or not. And so anyway, I said, okay, well, I'll just load Windows onto the M.2 drive. So did that, learned a valuable lesson. If you're loading Windows, just load an offline account. Don't load an online account. I don't know what happened in the middle of it, but it basically went to a black screen at one point and nothing happened. And I waited there for 10 minutes, nothing happened. So I had to restart the computer and it seemed to pick up from where it left off, or so I thought. Anyway, something happened, and every time I get to a certain point, after it seemed to be loaded and everything was what seemed to be doing fine, it would blue screen every single time. Not mining, not doing anything, it would just blue screen. So then after messing with that for about 2 hours, decided, okay, I'm going to do a reinstall. And that's when I'm like, okay, let's just do an offline account and be done with it. So I did an offline account, everything loaded fine, was able to get NB Miner downloaded, update the NVIDIA drivers, and MSI Afterburner loaded so I could do the overclocks. And lo and behold, I got the same exact result. It was mining exactly the same within 0.5 megahash with the same overclocks. Now I was getting some crashes with seemingly the same overclocks, but I haven't found that to be too uncommon. Hive seems to run a lot more stable, and you can run more aggressive overclocks with Hive. I'm sure others have found that as well. So, but then the fun had just begun. So then, and Chum Change already knows the story because I talked about it last night. So then I'm trying to get Hive to come back on. So one of the things that I had to do is I had to change a bunch of BIOS settings because Hive I have booted up via legacy mode and then Windows via UEFI. So I had to make a few changes in the BIOS. Well, not sure if I kept really good track of every change I made in the BIOS because I thought, oh, this might be a good idea. Oh, this might be a good idea. Well, that's really bad idea. So lesson learned, and I already knew this, make sure you document every change you make in the BIOS. So that would have made my life a lot easier if I had documented that change when I was doing Windows. So all I had to do was back those out. I don't know if any of that had a problem, was causing some of the problems I was having, but when I stuck the same USB drive in to the same exact port, it would freeze on me. It would drop the network connection and it would freeze. Have no idea why it was doing this. And so I decided, okay, well, I'll start from scratch. I reloaded it on that drive, ran into the same problem, loaded it on a new drive, had the same problem, until I finally said, screw it, we got to eliminate the drive as a problem. So I basically did a direct image from the USB drive to the SSD that I had on in the M.2 slot, had the same problems, but then I did a direct Hive replace by taking an image and downloading it via the network and installing it there, and then all my problems were gone. So, but that was about an 8-hour process. I mean, you may have thought that was a long story, but that was the short story of it. I think Chum Change can definitely tell me that was the short story of that. So anyway, so now it's back to mining just fine, the way it was and everything. But wow, that was so much fun. This rig, just because it's not a mining motherboard, you have to do a lot more work in the BIOS to actually make sure it works the way you want to make it work. The two key things that needed a change were making sure that you had it in legacy mode and had CSM on for doing Hive, and taking that off when you were doing Windows. So, and actually I think that's part of why my first install failed, was because I still had CSM on. So anyway, that was an adventure. But bottom line is, I tested it in Windows. I still had the same results. So it's definitely not a Windows versus Hive thing. It's not a Linux NVIDIA driver versus a Windows NVIDIA driver thing. So let's see. Any questions out there? I have not tested Raven. That's a great idea because obviously that is a much different algorithm and obviously uses Kapow, a form of ProgPow. I know that Firo is supposed to be going to ProgPow as well. So yeah, they're I haven't done that yet, but I'll probably be doing that this week so I can see if it's comparable to the other 3000 cards, 3000 series cards. So great idea. I will definitely try that this week, Red Fox. Let's see if there was any other questions. Okay, so Ronus Games. So biggest thing, let's not talk about ETH 1.0 versus ETH 2.0. The terminology has changed. It is proof of work, proof of stake. That's and when does proof of work go away and proof of stake start? So, because the reason why I say that is because ETH 2.0 is irrelevant to us actually as miners. It's when are we going to proof of stake? And they have deemed that term as the merge. So that is supposed to happen possibly as early as the end of the year, like November. It is extremely unlikely that it's going to happen in that time frame. Everybody that is within the Ethereum group is saying it's much more likely. And again, you can go back and watch the Tim Biko interview where he talks about this, but it's much more likely to happen in the sometime in the first quarter. My guess is it's going to happen late March, early April would be my guess. They want to be very cautious about this. This is a huge change. They got to get it right. Can't get it wrong. So they are going to do a lot more testing on this than even 1559, which is also a huge change. So yeah, that is my understanding, and that is backed up by what Tim Biko had said. Anybody who is telling you, well, ETH 2.0 is not until the end of next year, that's ETH 2.0. Those are features that will go on to proof of stake. There were also some other confusing things that were out there. Vitalik, in an interview, in a podcast interview, was talking about ETH 1.0 riding alongside proof of stake. And us as miners have always thought about ETH 1.0 is proof of work. So people thought, well, wait a minute, that means proof of work is going to run alongside proof of stake. No, that is not what he was talking about. ETH 1.0 is basically the algorithm and how that works. The underlying validation is separate from ETH 1.0, according, in the way that Vitalik thinks about it. So proof of work, proof of stake, those are the only two terms, or the merge. They talk about the move to proof of stake as the merge. Those are the topics and the subjects we should be talking about, not ETH 1.0 versus ETH 2.0. So, like I said, go back and watch that video because Tim Biko talks about the change in terminology and how it has led to a lot of confusion. And that's one of the reasons why we had the interview. We knew that there was a lot of confusion out there. So it will definitely clarify a lot of things. And it's only an hour. It's actually less than an hour. Couldn't even believe that we were able to get everything in less than an hour, especially with the way that I can talk. Let's see if there is any other questions. Not yet. Okay. So talked about that. So as you can tell, I've been mining Ergo. If you look at what to mine, it shows it being just pretty much as profitable as Ethereum. If I put in my hash rate numbers that I have seen, not necessarily these, but on my other card, and put them in versus what I do on Ethereum, it's definitely more profitable for me to do Ergo. So one of the challenges, as Red Fox had alluded to, is how do you cash out? Where do you mine to? All that kind of stuff. So this is not financial advice, not saying this is what you should do. I'm just expressing this is how I am doing it. So basically, what exchanges are available out there? So there are a few. I happen to be using Trade Ogre. Actually, I'd seen a couple people talk about it, but Son of a Tech talked about it a little bit more on one of his videos. So I thought, let me take a little bit more look at it and see how it's reviewed and such. And it seems to be a good exchange. I'm not going to be keeping a lot of my crypto there for long periods of time, which is why I feel more comfortable with it. So even if something drastic happens where, the whole thing goes under, that's all right. I won't have that much there. So I'm certainly going to be keeping less than, say, $300 to $400 worth of crypto there. My plan is to cash out of Ergo into something that I can transfer. So in order to keep the transaction fees down and also put it into something that I want to hold, I'm actually having it trading it into Cardano. So Cardano is not a direct from Ergo to Cardano. You have to do BTC in the middle. So basically, you're losing about 0.2% in your trade from Ergo to BTC. You're losing 0.2% going from BTC to Cardano. And then there is a very, very small, less than, I don't know. Well, it obviously depends on how much you're transferring at one time. But basically, it ends up coming out to, what did I say it was? 28 cents is typically about somewhere in that range, is what it would cost to transfer your Cardano to whatever wallet you want to transfer it to. And I'm transferring it into my main exchange that I use. So that is what I am doing. There are obviously a lot of other strategies. If you want to hold Ergo, then I would definitely suggest you would want to mine to a wallet. And then, you can always transfer it from the wallet into TradeOgre and do the same thing if you ever want to cash out. But yeah, again, I'm not saying anything bad about TradeOgre. I'm just saying I don't have any experience with them. The little bit of research that I did looked like it was a good exchange. So I felt like it was very low risk because I wasn't planning on keeping a lot there. So do your own research, take a look at it, and there's a number of sites that actually do reviews on exchanges, and they look at the positive and not so positive aspects of exchanges. So I won't go into that because this is not meant to be a review of TradeOgre, but just giving you an idea of the other reason why I also chose TradeOgre was because they also have Ryo, and I believe they also have Conceal. So it's kind of, for me, it's kind of like a one-stop shop of where I could mine different coins that you pretty much can't mine to any other exchange. Nobody really has those. So it seems like TradeOgre, one of their strategies is to have the coins, significant coins, but coins that others don't have. So we'll see. So that's my current strategy. I've done it for a whole week. Now, today I did sell my Ergo that I had in my account, which was like 12 Ergo, and transferred it, sold it from Ergo into BTC and then BTC into Cardano, and then transferred my Cardano. So yeah, I didn't feel like I lost a whole heck of a lot in that as I was looking at the amounts. I was like, that's pretty much what I had, maybe, less than $1 is what it seemed like. So yeah, it worked really well. The first time you do any of that, you're like, is this thing gonna go into the ether and never show up again? So, when TradeOgre said successful in the withdrawal, and it didn't show up in my exchange for a while, because obviously it takes a little bit of time. Yeah, it makes you a little kind of like, okay, hopefully this just went where it was supposed to go. But it was like 15, 20 minutes and my exchange had it and was in my account. So yeah, it worked out really, really well. So Chump Change asks, what about Firo? So I haven't taken a big look at Firo recently, because until I got 240 or 220 in my house, I couldn't mine it because the rigs would pull too much on a 15 amp circuit. So now that I have it, Firo isn't as profitable. So I've kind of put it on the back burner for now. But one of the things I was looking to do was actually truly solo mine on Firo. So I mean, I'm not even going through a mining pool. I'm just straight mining. So you don't have to go through a mining pool. You could basically set up a miner in such a way that you are just mining directly. And it's actually kind of strange because you don't get shares. When you win a block, it just tells you won a block. That's the only notification that you get. So with Firo and the amount of hash rate that I have, I could get about about one block a week. And I think it was one block a week. Anyway, it's been a while since I looked at it, but it is something I want to try eventually. Like I just gotten 220, not last week, but the week before. So, well, actually, it was like the weekend. So it was not this past Friday, but the Friday before that was when it got installed. So had to get a few more power cables, C13 to C14 power cables for one of my rigs. Thanks to Red Panda for providing the other four C13 to C14 in the care package you sent me a while back. So that worked out really, really well. So anyway, let me take a little drink here. And I suppose I'm probably getting a little dark, so I'm going to turn on my Christmas lights. Anyway, so let's see. So as far as Firo goes, it's in the plans to do some trials in it. I'm hoping that it becomes a little bit more profitable before I do that, but we'll see. I know that they have a lot of development and a lot of co-development being done. I'm not an expert on any of these projects, but I do enough to see if, the big thing right now is, well, who are you working with? Can you interact with? And Firo is a project that is also, and I don't remember exactly who they're interacting with, but they are doing a number of pieces of development to allow them to become more relevant. And that's the real key. I know one of their big things is voting. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see if Firo continues to move forward. But a lot of these smaller projects, I'm not as concerned about whether or not they're a viable project or not, because I'm cashing out. I am mining them because they are the most profitable or near the most profitable, and that I'm not holding. That's just my strategy. Now, Ergo is one of those where if an exchange that I know I can trust, if they were to adopt and have Ergo on their exchange, I might think about at least putting a bag together of Ergo, because I think that one, with its tie-in with Cardano, I think can definitely go places. So that's an interesting one. But things like, I've already got a bag of Raven. I'm not really interested in getting any more of a bag of Raven at this point. So if I mine Raven, I'm going to be selling what I mine, as well as, and I mean selling and leaving it in the exchange and buying into something else at times when it's good. And then, and again, none of this is financial advice. I'm just sharing what I am doing. That's all. So same thing with Ergo or Firo. Those are the strategies that I would have. ETC, I probably will, if it becomes more profitable, probably mine direct or mine to a pool, but hold that, because I don't really have much of a bag of ETC at this point. It's not much, so probably would hold that for a little bit. Would like to have a little bit of a bag of ETC. I think with its upcoming fork, to try to increase its usage of smart contracts could be interesting. Not really sure, but could be. So, all right. Back to questions. See if there's any other questions out there. Let's see. So no, I'm not. I don't believe it's considered a node. In order to have a node, you have to have a lot of Firo in order to have a node. I am not planning on mining that much Firo where I would have enough to set up a node. So, like I said, I did the research on this about 3 months ago, and I'll have to go back and take a look at it. But in essence, you don't have to have a node in order to mine solo Firo. So, and I think a lot of other coins are the same way. You don't have to go to a solo pool in order to mine solo. It just makes it easier. They're providing a service to you so that your computer, there's an extra process that needs to run on your computer in order for you to mine solo. Well, that's in essence what the solo pool is doing for you. Jump change. Christmas lights. Yes, Christmas lights. They're not Christmas lights. They're just LEDs. That's all. Let's see. That's a good question. I was talking about the Magneto upgrade. I couldn't remember what it was called, but yeah, I haven't really heard anything about it other than what they're doing. Basically, they're incorporating all of the Berlin fork elements that has been, because Ethereum is open source. Anybody can take the code and do with it what they like. So basically, Magneto is the Berlin hard fork. So they're just incorporating it on there. So that's can't be really a bad thing. They're trying to mimic Ethereum so that they can hopefully attract the same players that are riding on the Ethereum network. What they really need is they need the fees for the Ethereum network to go back up, and so that people will be looking for somewhere else to go with their smart contracts. So we'll see. We'll see if there becomes more usage. And also, it really depends on some of the other proof of stake, like Cardano, if they do implement on time their smart contracts. So there's a lot of things coming around. I mean, we all know cryptocurrency is constantly changing, which is what makes it so interesting. So yeah, we'll see. We'll have to see what happens. Let's see here. Can I make a video explaining the Magneto project in the future? Maybe. How's that for an answer? I don't know. I haven't really done any research into it, but that's a possibility. Probably just need to do a little bit of research to see if it's even relevant. I mean, that's the real key. Is it gonna matter? Because we all know that there's so many coins out there that don't really matter. And it's amazing that they even exist and that they have value. It's the reason why they call them SHIT coins. That's the reason. Because they can't all last. There's so many of them. So we shall see. Hey, Serpent, how you doing? So, yeah, what a name exactly. So, anyway, yeah, difficulty bomb. We'll see if they get it done in time and see if it has any effect on the Ethereum network, but it's looking pretty good. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah, I mean, as you saw, it wasn't really that hard to find. There are, I don't know, at least 2, maybe 3 sources out there that talk about how they did it. So, and I believe this is also documented on the Firo site, I believe. But like I said, it's been a while. But yeah, I know I could go back to it when I decide to do it and find the sources again. So, all right, guys. Well, I don't need to keep you if nobody else has any questions. Yeah, does everybody else's neighborhood sound like Warzone? I know mine does. Partially because our fireworks were on the 2nd. They were on Friday night. So yeah, people rested yesterday and now everybody's got fireworks out. So I'm waiting to hear if the local minor league baseball team is setting off fireworks tonight as well. Yes, I'm glad you brought that up, Serpent. So this lovely t-shirt was designed by none other than Savage Mind, who I'm sure you all know that he had passed away this past week. So Doge Lord is graciously donating any uh, shirts or any type of Savage Mind merch. He is donating all profits from any purchases of Savage Mind merch. And he finished the creations that he was already working on with Savage Mind. And I can tell you that it looks really cool. I wish he was here. Well, I wish Savage Mind was here, obviously. But I wish Doge Lord was here because it sounded like, and maybe Serpent, you can chime in. It sounded like he did a pre-order with the help of another community member, and so it sounds like people can get their some of the merch. That scared me. Some of the merch quickly because they did these pre-orders. But don't quote me on that. That's what it sounded like the other night. But yeah, we had all had a little bit to drink, so I don't want to say for sure if that was the case. But if Serpent, if you can clarify that or confirm that, that would be helpful. And yeah, that hat, still waiting for my hat. So yes, he ordered a little. Okay, I thought so. So yeah, again, I don't know if he did like an enormous. I don't think he did an enormous pre-order, but the sooner you get your order in, the better possibility it is that you could get it quicker. But definitely, it's a great way that we can remember Savage, as well as raise money for his family. I actually wanted to see, is there still anybody mining? Oh, we're down to 2. So there's still 2 people mining to that address. I don't know if, I mean, is Serpent, is either one of them you mining to that by any chance? Because I know it makes it easy to cash out if you still got a miner on it, but was just curious if that was you or somebody that you knew, so that would make it easier to cash out at the end. But anyway, at least it's down to 2. Before it was at 4 or 5, and we had finished mining to it on Friday. But obviously, some people don't monitor the rigs, or maybe they're remote, possibly. So not sure. But anyway, it's still generating some income, and I'm sure Savage will. I'm sorry, I'm sure that Serpent will figure out a way to cash that out and close it out. And I think the GoFundMe at this point has closed. Hang on a second. I lost my YouTube screen. Bear with me here 1 second. Let me get it back. There we are. All right. So let me go back, because now Serpent has said we have to ask Storage Lord to confirm. Yeah. And Serpent's been working closely with the family. So thank you so much for that, Serpent. I know you're obviously local, it makes sense, but still, we all as a community really appreciate what you've done. Yes, we should stop mining that address, but some are still on, yeah. And so if anybody knows the people, if they recognize, where somebody said, oh yeah, I'm mining and this is me. If anybody knows those people, if you could let them know to stop mining to that address, because it will become inactive. And so we don't want that just to, if somebody's mining, they should be mining to their own address at this point so they can make money for themselves. Or, hey, make money for themselves. And, I don't know if the GoFundMe is still open, but at any rate, I'm sure there's a way that we can still help out the family. Certainly donate to the Isaiah House, which is the family has requested, instead of flowers, that people can donate to the Isaiah House. So anyway, oh, people are directly in contact with either mine. Okay, cool. Wow, is there a chance that the Aeon plaque could actually be found? I know that My understanding with that Aeon plaque was that it was in the Aeon office in China when they shut it down. I thought that was the story I heard. Yeah, I got bombs going off at my house. So quite appropriate what I named the stream tonight. Um, but yeah, it would be awesome if we could find that plaque. That would be. I know it's been lost for some time now. But anyway. Alrighty, guys, I'm kind of rambling at this point, but I appreciate you guys all showing up. Enjoy the rest of your evening. If you are in the central time zone, enjoy whatever fireworks you may be out watching. If you're in the eastern time zone, you probably have already watched the fireworks, or were too busy watching me. So anyway, yeah, it was closed and some safe lost forever. Okay, got it. So anyway, so thanks again, everybody. Appreciate it. And we will see you again sometime in the future or just on the Misfit Mining streams on Saturday nights. So don't fail to tune into those. All right, guys, have a good one. And again, happy Independence Day. Happy 4th of July.